Hello everybody, Infinite Shinjo here, and welcome to another video. And today I am here to discuss Ash Ketchum. Ash Ketchum has traveled through a lot of different regions, and he's caught a lot of different Pokemon. And obviously there are videos out there of mons that Ash should evolve, mons that Ash should capture, and all of this sort of stuff. So I thought what would be a cool idea for a video series is to go through mons that I wish would have been Ash's teams through the different Pokemon seasons. Now obviously all of this just boils down to my own speculation on what I think his team should be, and my perfect team for Ash in each individual series is going to be different from your team if you have one. But in today's episode, I am going to be discussing the Kanto and Johto anime. A lot of different outlets include Kanto and Johto together, especially with Gold and Silver allowing you to travel back there, and the original anime consisting of Kanto, Orange Islands, and Johto all in one. So I thought it would be a cool idea for me to list off what I think Ash's teams will be for all of these series. And if you enjoy it, I can make a follow-up video later, but you'll have to let me know by hitting that like button and let me know down in the comment section. But this video is going to start with Kanto. I didn't really have one planned for Orange Islands because it's not like he abandoned his previous team. So I guess for the case of Orange Islands, since I'm not going to discuss it, he can still get the Lapras, he can still get the Snorlax. I think those are the only two things that he gets in the Orange Islands. Now, originally, in his Kanto team, he ends up getting a Bulbasaur, Charizard, Kingler, Muk, Tauros, Snorlax, Squirtle, Primeape, Butterfree, Pidgeot, and Lapras. Obviously, a lot of those he released. For a case like Butterfree, I'll keep it as capturing and then releasing. This would more be what I think his team should be at the very end of the Kanto series. But I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into my team. So for starters, there are going to be a lot less starters. As I'm sure you've noticed, I've taken a little bit of liberty with Ash and his starters. Obviously, I decided to keep Charizard the way it is because it's Charizard, it's iconic. The fact that it disobeyed him kind of led to Ash's development in learning to adapt to different kinds of mons. And I decided to evolve his Bulbasaur once into Ivysaur. I just feel like Bulbasaur evolving once into Ivysaur would be a nice balance, in my opinion. While I'm sure it's not an unpopular opinion, I feel like Ash shouldn't have released his Primeape in the boxing episode, instead keeping it on his team and using it as one of his main mons. Because Primeape is one of those mons that doesn't get talked about much, and it's very unfortunate because Primeape is really cool. You could even have a running gag where it captures Ash's hat when he battles. And I'm sure you'll also notice that I decided to take Squirtle off his team entirely and have him focus only on Kingler. And I just feel like Ash having all three Kanto starters is a little bit much, especially since he already had a water type in Kanto with Kingler. And that's just honestly upsetting because personally, I prefer Kingler to Squirtle. I just like Kingler's design. And it's very upsetting that Ash caught so many Pokemon in Kanto and only used about half of them. And as far as the bird of the region, let's just say that Pidgeot is replaced by Fearow in my example. Just say that Ash actually ended up catching that Spearow that he tried to capture at the very start of the show. I don't have a reason why Fearow should be caught instead of Pidgeot. I just feel like Fearow could have a more varied dynamic to his team, getting very prone to anger. So as far as the other mons that I'm not including here, like Muk, Tauros, Snorlax, Butterfree, Pidgeot, and Lapras, like I said, just include Snorlax and Lapras in the Orange Islands. He ends up releasing Lapras anyway, so it doesn't really matter. As far as Muk and Tauros go, they didn't really do much in the show anyway. Muk and Tauros only really get to battle like once or twice, and the fact that Ash gets 30 Tauros is just kind of strange in my opinion. Although looking at this team now, it does essentially give Ash a fully evolved team outside of Ivysaur, but to be fair, Charizard evolving helps with the dynamic of Ash growing as a trainer. Kingler already evolves in the league. Primeape evolved before it was caught. I don't really have another reason why I think this should be his team other than I think it looks nice. Top of the other explanations that I already gave. But let's switch over to his Johto team. And his Johto team did end up keeping a lot of his Kanto Mons for a time, but he eventually just sent them back to Oak's lab or other places and focused more on his Johto team. His team in Johto ends up being Heracross, Bayleaf, Quilava, Totodile, Noctowl, and Donphan. Although Mons like Cyndaquil and Phanpy don't evolve until after Johto. But let me show you what I did for his Johto team. So as you notice, I decided to keep his Bayleaf and his Cyndaquil in the same way that they were. And Noctowl I decided to keep as a Noctowl because it's a shiny Pokemon. He needs to have a shiny Pokemon. I feel like the fact that Ash has a shiny Pokemon is very cool, especially in the context of Johto when shinies were first introduced. But yeah, half of his team is essentially the same as what it was before. Obviously, Cyndaquil is going to still evolve when Sinnoh comes around. But the two things I decided to go a little bit further with is evolve Totodile into Croconaw and have him keep the Larvitar. Obviously, the Larvitar egg he gets very late in Johto. He sends it back to the Tyranitar mom, and that was it. But instead, I feel like he should have kept the Larvitar egg. And I don't think it would evolve into Pupitar in the Johto series. Because a pseudo-legendary on his team, especially the first one, just feels like a big step to take. Maybe Ash brings it back in the Battle Frontier like he did with Phanpy. And as far as Totodile evolving into Croconaw goes, my only logic with that is he evolved Chikorita into Bayleaf, so why can't he evolve Totodile into Croconaw? Obviously, Totodile is a lot cuter than Croconaw, although some people might disagree. But I just feel like you could have it be a Croconaw and still keep it in the upbeat personality that it had as a Totodile. It would just be a lot funnier seeing a Croconaw dance around. Obviously, his Johto team isn't as overpowered as his Kanto team was because he doesn't have a Charizard, for example. But I just feel like this is a good team for him to have in Johto. Maybe bring back a couple of his Mons later on in the series and have him evolve. Of course, he only does that in the actual anime in Sinnoh, but who knows. But that is going to be it for this first part of what I'm going to call Ash's Dream Team. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do a full series on this. I just thought it'd be a cool idea to do in concept. And if you guys are down for it, I can do more parts of it. Obviously, I'm going to include 2 regions per. So the next one will be Hoenn and Sinnoh. Unova Kalos will be the following one. And then Alola and Galar to wrap it up. It's just a lot less time to record. And it'll be a lot lengthier of a video. Because if I would do 1 region per, it would be probably less than 10 minutes. Especially considering I have a lot more to say about some and not as much for others. I actually forgot to mention it up to this point, but I'm not including Pikachu in any of these because Pikachu's just a staple, he's going to stay around. I'm not planning on evolving him into Raichu because I feel like that would just take away from the episodes where he didn't want to evolve. So that's the main reason I didn't include Pikachu. I decided to focus more on the Mons that I feel like should have evolved or been exchanged for something else. But again, let me know if this would be something that you would like to watch, and if you support it, then I'll keep on doing more of it. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what your team would be for Ash if you had to make one yourself, and if it's different from mine, explain your reasoning because I'd really like to know. I will see you in the next episode. Momentai.